Good morning. Today's question is, are we really all one? Are we really all one? This is one of those sentences that has been thrown around in so many different ways, in so many different contexts, that it has completely lost its meaning. It's like one of those sentences like, just be here and now. It's like, it's just my ego. What does it even mean, we're all one? Because if, for example, now I get hurt, I'm the only one who feels it. If I do certain things for myself, if I eat in a certain way, or if I eat in a certain good way, or in a certain unhealthy way, I am the one who lives the consequences of my choices. If someone else gets hurt, I don't feel it. If someone else gets happy or sad, I don't feel it. I live within myself. And when I say myself, it's this bounded context I live in. And I experience only those things in this being, in this circle. If anything happens in this context, in this circle, in this being, I feel those things. I know those things. I live those things. I experience those things, whatever the word we choose. But anything that happens outside of this, I cannot say it happens to me, in the sense that I cannot say I feel them. I cannot say I understand them. I cannot say I would go out of my way to prevent pain someone else is feeling, or to incur happiness to someone else. Of course, to a loved one or to a parent, but even to an unknown person. So in this sense, if I earn money, it improves the quality of my life. If someone else earns money, I still need money, right? When we go to a company, for example, and when we work, we don't all get the money to a shared bank account. We have separate bank accounts. So are we all one? Well, it doesn't seem in this life that we're all one. But also it is very understandable that we're all one in a certain sense that is very, very tangible and not that difficult to understand. For example, even between myself, I can say, for example, whatever I feel, whatever happens to me now in this instant, in this space, I feel, I know, I experience. For example, if I hurt a part of my body now, I feel it. I feel the pain. I would like to prevent certain experiences from happening to me in this context now, which is in this time and space immediately, right now, right here in this situation. But we don't always relate to ourselves in various points of time as being just one being, as being one person. So in this sense, for example, we might do things today that hurt ourselves in the future. We constantly do it. How we spend our time, what we eat, what we do, what we don't do. All of those things. We actually are hurting ourselves in the future, but we still have not had this experience yet. This experience of the consequences of our actions now, their consequences in the future will still be felt. So in this context, even within my being, and I know very well because in the past I am living the consequences of my choices in the past, right? So only now do I know, this person back then, me in the past back then, created all of this life for me, whether that's desirable or not. This body I have now, whether I like it or not, is based on the consequences of my choices in the past. So I'm inheriting my body from the past. I'm inheriting all of this state from my past self. And in this sense, when I was this person back then, I didn't feel the joy or the being displeased at my choices back then. Everything I did or I failed to do back then, I have not felt, I have not realized the consequences or the results of those choices back then. So in that sense, I am two people. One who was living in the past, in the present, and the one who will inherit all of my choices and all of my actions and all of my thoughts and all of my feelings and everything I do or I don't do. So in this sense, even within our lives, it is understandable how we sometimes fail to realize that it's a continuous life. We are going to live through the consequences of everything we do or don't do. And so even in this sense, we fail to recognize that eventually we are one. We are one. The future of us is the same person who will live this life. It is just that we are far away from it in time. So we seem to have this capacity in the physical body to experience everything that's happening around us in physical proximity. But in our time body, and when I say time body, it's this capacity of us to relate to ourselves in the future and in the past as just being one being. And even if I still don't yet feel the consequences of my choices, I will feel them. And having this capacity of almost feeling immediately right now how my future self will feel as the consequence of the current action, this is the development of a subtle body, a more subtle body, which is called our time body, which is feeling immediately instantly right now the consequences, the future consequences of our immediate actions. So by analogy, in the same sense, everything we do impacts the world around us. Whether that is in time or in space, everything we do, we have this earth for ourselves. If we take, now we went from one person, which is just our life in the past and in the future. If we think by the same analogy, even if we are sharing a building with other people, it might not seem obvious immediately that if I go down, for example, and I litter all over the place, that eventually I'm littering in my house. At some moment, I'm gonna be displeased with the consequences of my actions because we are sharing the space, right? And while that might not be immediately obvious, at some moment it will become obvious. If I don't treat my neighbors correctly, at some moment this will affect the quality of my life. So in this sense, also, how I treat the others impacts really the quality of my life at some moment. We don't often have this foresight, we don't often have this understanding. It takes a lot of time in life, it takes a lot of experiences to understand that we don't ever escape the consequences of our actions. It is either in the future or we still have not realized it. The consequences of our eating habits. We are going to have to live through those choices we make every day, we make every instant, right? So in this sense, can we say we are all one? Yes, eventually, ultimately, in the sense that if we understand that we are living in the place that other people have built for us. If I live in this house, some other people have built it for me. In the past, through their actions, they have built this house, and now I get to enjoy this house, right? And it's the same thing on a bigger scale, on this planet. Everything we do really is, everything that we have now is the consequence of the past actions and choices of other people. And if we have this quality of life that we should be grateful for the most part, of course, for the most part, then we have those other people to thank. And in the same way, everything we do will impact other people's lives in the future. So in this sense, by extension, in the future, across a lot of, by imagination, by extension, by imagining this on a bigger scale, it is just, you can think of it as just one organism. One organism, in bigger time and in bigger space, it is just one organism. And that this one organism is going to always to have to live the consequences of every choice every single person on earth does, right? So while we won't go into ideas of reincarnation or future incarnations of our same, whatever entity of us reincarnates and then lives the consequences of those choices in time, that is maybe for another time. If we just think of it as one organism, one more collective organism that eventually is going to live across all of those times and places on earth, then yes, we are this one being, right? We don't immediately feel it, and that's understandable, in the same way that we don't feel always how we hurt ourselves in the future. How we are hurting ourselves by our actions now. We are hurting our future self and by our actions now. But it doesn't mean that we're not gonna live through the consequences of those actions. In the same way, it doesn't mean that this same organism is not gonna live through the consequences of all of our actions, everything we are doing. This one being is not gonna escape the consequences of those actions. Escape or reap as reward, right? So are we really all one? Well, not in the sense of we have to understand those things. We have to live by those things. If you are really all one, then we better think as one, right? It's not just an idea to float around and to repeat as something that is, because we're not really one. We can count how many 8 billion people. So in this sense, no, we're different. We don't feel even the pains of others. We don't feel the sorrows of others. We don't feel the joys of others. So how can we say we're all one? It's not something that is experiential for most of our normal conscious life, right? In a certain state of consciousness. But then at some moment, our perspective of life evolves. Our understanding of life evolves. In the same way, for example, at some moment we start understanding that we better invest in our future. By analogy, our consciousness evolves, our understanding of life evolves through a lot of experience in life, through living with other people, through living more with people, through trying to understand people. We understand that, yes, of course, I share the sorrows of others in some moment because I share the space, right? If, for example, I go to a restaurant every day and the owner is not happy, it impacts the quality of my food, right? So that's just one trivial example, but in the same way, the quality of in a community, for example, the quality of each person's life really impacts the whole community, because each person in the community does do some work. And if we want good products and good services and good things that we enjoy using, we better make sure that everyone is comfortable to a certain extent, so that they are more eager to serve the community, to produce nicer things for the community, right? So in this sense, yes, we are living a shared life. We are one organism. Our well-being really is in the well-being of everyone around us. And if we don't feel those things immediately, it is just short-sightedness. We still have not yet felt it, but we will feel it for sure. In the same way we can understand how we will feel all of our past actions. We have felt actually all of our past actions for sure in them. Now, so unfortunately, those sentences, when they're just used without really paying more attention to their meaning, they just become really void of any meaning. They just become sentences that we just throw around without any meaning. Like, what does it even mean to be in the now? Or that we're all one, or any of those things? They don't have meaning anymore. They're just things that are taken as now somehow in a certain community as truths almost, without ever trying to understand what they mean. But saying them does not mean anything. Living them and contemplating those things and actually acting in ways to make sure that we are contributing to the well-being of this one shared organism, and not only this limited perspective of our life we are feeling now. Whether that's investing in our future and also investing in everyone else's future around us. Only those behaviors and changes in behaviors really give this sentence a meaning. And then we understand, we not only understand, we live this idea of, yes, we are one. But not in theory, in actual reality.